stopping me. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me. I was born, came up with a plan, now I'm the man. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up. It ain't no stopping me. I done ran up all these bands up and hand that made like.
What's going on, y'all? All right. I appreciate y'all for joining me. As always, when you come into the room, be sure to hit the thumbs up button to support the channel. And if you haven't done so already, smash the subscribe button. All right, you gotta subscribe so you can get a notification every time I drop a video. I'm dropping a video and a live just about every day now, so tons of content on different topics. Sometimes it's politics, sometimes it's sports, news, sports. You never know what you're going to get on this channel. So subscribe and come on back for more. And for those who really want to support the channel, check out the links in the description. All right, check out the links in the description. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump right into today's conversation. Tonight, we're breaking down the situation with Trayon White. Now, if y'all were joining me last night, we were talking about Mayor Muriel Bowser of DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, and I was pointing out that you will see a consistent and repeated theme of corruption. If you visit Mayor Bowser's, just visit her Wikipedia page, just read her Wikipedia. You don't even have to do a lot of digging, but you will see a consistent pattern of bribery coming from the corporations, the construction corporations. Also, we were discussing that yesterday. Also, yesterday we were discussing the path of these DC local politics. We noticed, and I pointed out the path that a lot of these mayors start off as ANC, meaning neighborhood commissioners, then they'll move on to DC City Council, and then they'll ultimately run for mayor. And we see that Trayon White was looking like he was going to be Muriel Bowser's predecessor. It was looking like Trayon White was up next. Okay, Muriel Bowser was in office now, and it seemed as if Trayon White had a good chance of becoming mayor in the future. There were already some allegations coming late last year in 2024 that he was allegedly caught on camera accepting bribes, tens of thousands of dollars on camera. Despite these allegations of bribery, the DC residents still decided to vote Trayon White in. I'm going to play a clip and then I'm going to come back with some more thoughts. Check this out.
I feel confident that the people of Warday have spoken. I feel like I'm going to win by a landslide, but I'm still humble and prayerful. But, you know, I hope it's in a loud message to the DC Council about keeping the decisions in the hands of the people. You know, I'm under a lot of scrutiny right now on this season of my life, but I'm forever prayerful and grateful for all God has done in my life and the people that's been supporting me along the way.
All right, now that's this brother, Trayon White. Now, notice that the people of DC, we can overlook a lot of things, especially if we feel as though you have our best interest at heart. This is DC, the home of Marion Barry. Marion Barry allegedly was doing crack cocaine with strippers, and we as DC residents were still able to overlook his transgressions and vote DC Mayor Marion Barry back into office. So when a lot of the folks voted Trayon White back into office, despite his allegations of bribery, you know, a lot of people were able to understand that in DC, because if you look like you're coming from the people, you have our best interest at heart, we're able to overlook a lot of things. Despite the people still voting for Trayon White into office here in DC for city council, the city council removed him after the video was released from the police. Now, originally it was just allegations. He was arrested for taking bribery. He was arrested for bribery, accepting bribery. However, it wasn't until later on when they released the video. But now that they've released the video, the city council, his fellow city council members, voted to remove him. And I'm just walking you through the timeline of how this came to be. With that being said, I'm going to play another clip, sort of speaking just to give you guys some context and see the way this has been progressing. So check out this clip.
That's right, Megan. And, you know, Councilmember White hasn't spoken much publicly since his arrest last August after federal investigators caught him on camera, allegedly pocketing thousands of dollars and agreeing to kickbacks. Well, today, here inside the Wilson building during this public hearing, he will have a chance to address his colleagues for the first time. He's accused of using his power as council member to steer grants and city contracts from government agencies to various companies and organizations. Now, 7 News on Your Side reached out to White to ask for a reaction before this meeting, but his office stated he had no comment. Last month, the ad hoc committee created to launch the council's investigation unanimously approved the recommendation for a full expulsion. 7 News did ask the mayor her thoughts.
I honestly haven't gone into the details of the report, but for a committee and the committee's legal counsel to recommend expulsion, I have to think that the answers about if they believe that the council's rules were violated and the public's trust were violated, then that was compelling.
Now, I want to pause it here just to point out the fact that, mind you, Mayor Muriel Bowser, she also was caught allegedly. Well, she was fined and she had to pay money for accepting for violating campaign laws. All right. So you will see both. Not only are we dealing with Trayon White tonight, but also the current sitting mayor of DC, Mayor Muriel Bowser. She was also caught violating campaign finance laws. So you'll see there's a repeating theme of corruption within DC politics, whether it be the DC City Council, in i.e. Trayon White, who just today, 2025, just today, I don't want to date the video, but just today announced that he will be running for re-election. He's seeking another seat. The DC elections are in November of 2026. That's why people are starting to gear up for their campaigns this year. All right. Council, DC City Council, ANC boards, there are elections coming up in 2026. So that's why even the mayor is up for re-election next year in 2026. So people are gearing up in DC politics for the upcoming election. Trayon White just today announced that he will be seeking re-election despite the fact that just weeks ago the city council voted to remove him. And let me play you just a clip. Y'all know I like to come with a lot of clips just so I'm not just giving you the information. You can see some receipts. This clip was just released today. Check out this piece. I liked it. Check this piece out.
City Council has voted unanimously today to expel Ward 8 Council member Trayon White. White has pled not guilty to a federal bribery charge, but an independent investigation commissioned by the council found he violated its code of ethics. And as News 4's Mark Seagraves reports, this is the first time the council has taken the drastic step of removing a council member.
Give council member as much as he needs.
In the hallway outside the council chamber prior to the vote, Councilmember Trayon White stood in a prayer circle with supporters.
Amen.
Amen. Inside the hearing, White sat in the audience with his attorney, Fred Cook. Only 3 of the 12 council members made remarks prior to the vote.
Are we to do nothing? Legislatures everywhere, including Congress, have to be able to discipline their members when there are egregious acts.
While this process is personally difficult for me, it is my duty as a council member, and frankly, today's action is fairly straightforward. It's not a tough question. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
Today is a very sad and solemn day, I know, for all of us. I also want to thank my colleague, Councilmember Trayon White, for all of his service to the residents of Ward 8 and the District of Columbia.
The vote itself took less than a minute and was unanimous.
Aye.
Any words to your staff or constituents? After the vote, former Councilmember White declined to answer reporters' questions as he went to his office for perhaps the final time. Now, the D.C. Board of Elections will declare the Ward 8 seat vacant and schedule a special election to be held between 70 and 174 days. Trayon White could put his name in the race and run for that open seat. News 4 asked Councilmember McDuffie and Chairman Mendelson if they would vote to expel White a second time if he wins that special election.
You are asking me a hypothetical that I don't want to speculate around.
I'm not going to speculate.
And I asked the chairman if he would consider legislation preventing White from running in that special election. Would the council take preemptive action?
I am not going to speculate on that.
When will you discuss that?
Maybe I'll discuss it if and when it becomes more of a reality. I'm not going to speculate.
Reality right now.
I'm not going to speculate on hypotheticals.
White's criminal trial on the bribery charge is scheduled for January of next year. In the district, Mark Seagraves, News 4.
Now, the sad thing, let me come back on screen here. Now, the sad thing about it is DC is a Democratic stronghold. So the reason they're asking, hey, what happens if he decides to run, which he already announced today that he will be running for that seat in the upcoming election, for that vacant seat. He's going to run again. He's going to run again. And being that DC is such a Democratic stronghold, he faces very little competition. When I say very little, I mean no competition. All right, he's running unopposed, essentially. DC is an open market. If you want to go, DC is actually ripe for any newcomers, political newcomers. DC is actually ripe for transition, ripe for change. Our sitting mayor has multiple allegations of corruption. She has been fined previously for violating campaign finance laws. DC City Council, we've got Trayon White. He was looking like they were grooming him to be the very next mayor. He's just been arrested recently for alleged bribery charges. And these are felony federal bribery charges that he's facing. They removed him and he's running again, and he very well might win because he's running unopposed. So it's really an indictment on the DC residents, as we don't really have a lot of voices in DC who are stepping up or looking to take on that leadership role. So the few Democrats who take the initiative to actually run, they're basically running unopposed. So hey, they've got a stronghold on the District of Columbia right now, and calling all challengers. Ding ding ding, ring the bell. Calling all challengers. I'm trying to see if I want to go through this article. Yesterday, I promised you guys that I would give a part 2 because we were going through Mayor Bowser's page, giving some background information on Mayor Bowser, and I didn't quite finish it. It was getting kind of late, so I might have to dive back in there. One thing that I wanted to point out, though, a lot of people were discussing. Sorry, I'm trying to find this image for you guys. Hold on. How I can share this, guys. Okay, let's go to 3. And then I'm going to slide this down so you guys can see. A lot of people were discussing, hey, where's this guy from? A lot of people were asking, where's this guy from? Trayon White, because his mom is a foundational Black American, allegedly. But they say that his dad abandoned him at birth, so he's been very vague about his father's side. And a lot of people were saying they think that he might be, I don't want to use the word tether on him, because from my understanding and outside of his bribery charges, I don't really have too much bad to say about him. He seems like a brother from the DMV. He went to University of Maryland, Eastern Shore, so that's in Maryland. He's a local dude. He seemed to be a grassroots brother. I was rocking with him. He had his dreadlocks. Like 2 years ago, if you would have asked me about Trayon White, I was rocking with him. I was supporting him. And when I say we were grooming him to be the next mayor, he had my vote. But when I see things like you're being indicted on federal bribery charges, I feel like you're fooling the people. I feel like this is the same thing with Mayor Bowser. I feel like a lot of Black folks, we saw her as, hey, this is a Black mayor. We're in Chocolate City. We're trying to stay true to the Black folks, Black grassroots. It's a Black Democratic stronghold. We wanted to keep that mantle going. So we voted for Muriel Bowser, only to see her bow down to the construction companies. And now we're seeing the same thing with Trayon White. We thought he was a brother from the streets, got his dreadlocks. We thought he was a local DMV resident. We were like, okay, he's a native. We're rocking with him. only to see him accepting tens of thousands of dollars on federal bribery charges. Right? So it's really disappointing. It's really disappointing. Because, like I said, even me myself, I see a brother with dreads, he's running in politics. I'm like, hey, that's what's up, man. That's what I like to see. It's really disappointing when we see these folks who are supposed to have our best interests at heart go out on some personal come up, some come up schemes, some scamming stuff. You're over here accepting bribes. You're selling out. Basically, you got caught selling out. And the person who, I'm trying to go on screen. The person who he allegedly accepted the money from testified against him. So it's not even like he has plausible deniability. Oh, hold on. Sorry about that, guys. I'm not on screen. It's not like he has plausible deniability. When he first ran for re-election in 2024, the reason he was re-elected was because at the time, before all the video footage was released, before the facts of the case were released, we thought that he had reasonable doubt. But now we're seeing videos of him accepting tens of thousands of dollars. The person who he accepted the money from is deciding to testify against him. Bro, it's not looking good. Your case doesn't look good. It's not a good look. So again, it's DC is ripe for transition. DC is ripe for transition. And there is no Republican voice here. We've got a small Green Party here, but they're not really making any noise. I mean, it's really sad to see in the district. I think there needs to be some revitalization to the political scene here in DC. One thing about Trayon White that I used to think was funny, you know, he's grassroots. He had his locks. I was thinking he was more on that Hebrew Israelite time. I don't know his ideology, because, you know, you got to sort of keep your personal ideology separate from your political life when you're running in politics. So he's not very open with his ideologies, but he has made some off-brand statements, some off-the-cuff statements regarding the Jewish people, right? I'm going to play this clip. This is him speaking, saying that the small hats control the weather. You wouldn't believe it if I said it. Check this out.
And it just started snowing out of nowhere this morning, man. Y'all better pay attention to this climate control, man. This climate manipulation. And DC keep talking about we're a resilient city. And that's a model based off the Rothschilds controlling the climate to create natural disasters they can pay for it and own the cities, man. Be careful. And it's just
So this brother went on live talking about, This brother went on live talking about the Rothschilds control the weather. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, bro. Okay. This is what we got. This is the best America has to offer. All right? We get what we deserve. We as Americans, we get what we deserve. You telling me that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are the best that America has to offer? You telling me that Muriel Bowser and Trayon White are the best that DC has to offer? I don't know. I think they leave much to be desired. Now, as promised, let's break back into these articles. I like reading, and I wasn't done reading the background on Muriel Bowser. So I want to get back into these articles and pick up from where we left off yesterday. Yesterday we were talking about Mayor Bowser's legacy, and we stopped off on where she stands regarding the environment. So that's where we're going to pick it up. All right, so let's jump back into this article and pick up from where we left off. Y'all check this out. All right, so regarding the environment, in January of 2018, Bowser announced $4.7 million investments in 2 islands in the Anacostia River, 45-acre Kingman Island and 5-acre Heritage Island. She also designated portions of each island as a state conservation area, which restricts their use to limited purposes, including recreation and education. The funds will be used for improvements on the island, including outdoor classrooms, walkways, a floating lab platform, and bathrooms. I know all about Anacostia River. I haven't seen these islands, so I'm gonna have to look that up. I want to see more. I want to get more information on those islands because I want to visit those. Anacostia River, that's not too far from where I live. Anacostia. That's not too far. I want to see what islands they're building over there. Government transparency, and let me tell you, she is notorious for avoiding transparency because many believe allegedly that she's corrupt. She's been bought and paid for by the construction companies here in DC. But I digress. Let's get into the article. In 2018, the members of the DC Board of Ethics and Government Accountability voted unanimously not to renew the contract of Tracy Hughes, who was the head of DC's government transparency entity, the Office of Open Government. Activists say, that's me, Hughes was being punished for her enforcement of district regulations on government transparency. Basically, she was actually doing her job. She was trying to enforce government transparency. She was punished by Muriel Bowser, who was trying to cover up her corruption. Allegedly. In the preceding year, she had faulted at least 2 public boards controlled by Bowser appointees. Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm back. Here we go. In the preceding year, she had faulted at least 2 public boards controlled by Bowser appointees for failure to comply with the city's Open Meetings Act, and had issued a decision that the board of United Medical Center, the district's troubled public hospital, had broken that law by secretly discussing and voting to close the facility's nursery and delivery rooms. Let me tell you, the hospitals in the DMV, my boy just left. Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on that. But yeah, they had the Open Meetings Act. It's supposed to be open to the public. They're over here voting in secret, trying to hide from the public. Hughes said after her dismissal that she had to resist pressure to ease off in her role of policing district agencies, compliance with the Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act, and that she had been subjected to personal attacks in an effort to keep her from issuing an opinion relating to the Open Meetings Act, compliance by the DC Commission on section and tenure of administrative law judges. All right. Now, this is one thing that she's supposed to be taking under her wing. This is supposed to be her linchpin legislation. She's supposed to be taking the lead on gun control. And I will say that this year in 2025, we're off to a good start. I think they say this is the lowest homicide rate we've had in the past 30 years. So since the 90s, that's pretty good. We're off to a good start. And this is supposed to be based on some of Muriel Bowser's stances on gun control. So let's see what they have to say about that. Bowser is a strong advocate of gun control, characterizing herself in her inaugural speech in January of 2015 as a mayor who hates guns. Bowser has encouraged the DC Council to ban bump stocks with the aim of forcing congressional Republicans to take a stand on the record on gun control and gun violence. Americans are demanding common sense action, and as leaders, we must listen and act. Bump stocks, which turn already dangerous weapons into lethal machines, have no place in our society, said Mayor Bowser. Bowser was also unusually supportive of the March of Our Lives rally in Washington, D.C. in March of 2018, and in 2018 was said to be positioning herself as a national figure in the gun control movement. So that's supposed to be her linchpin legislation, is her stance on gun control. I don't think she's actually passed the legislation what she's referring to, though, regarding the bump stock bans. She's pushing DC Council to do it, but I don't think the legislation has actually passed here in DC as of yet. Moving right along, healthcare. In 2016, United Medical Center was the sole government-owned hospital in DC. In March of that year, on the advice of the Director of Healthcare Finance, the DC Council awarded the management of UMC to Veritas, a 2-year-old politically connected firm. the husband of the Veritas CEO, was what? A major donor to the Bowser campaign in 2014. Seeing that repeating theme, these major donors, they're getting major kickbacks. And a longtime healthcare executive with experience overseeing troubled hospitals. Okay, so how did that turn out for us? Let's find out. Veritas, however, failed to improve what? Veritas, however, failed to improve what? Veritas, however, failed to improve the quality of care, and its tenure saw several cases of preventable patient deaths and negligence. By March of 2017, the director of DC's Department of Health was warning the UMC board about serious safety lapses in the hospital's obstetrics unit. By August, the Department of Health had shut down the ward due to its failure to meet minimum standards. Terrible. Let's just take a moment and realize what's going on here. And this is one example. I hope y'all were here last night. You can check out breaking down Mario Bowser's legacy. That's a separate video y'all can check out, because this is something that we're seeing repeated. We're seeing repeated theme here. Her desire to accept money in the form of campaign donations, then reward whoever gives her campaign donations the city contract, and then the city contract, the project actually ends up failing. We saw the same thing First of all, they just signed the $55 million for the new stadium. They signed the contract so the DC tax residents would pay 90% of this $55 million project. They ended up underpricing it, so they had to add another $10 million on top of the price of that contract. And now under Donald Trump administration, threatening to withdraw $1 billion from the budget, from the allocations going to DC, Mayor Bowser is announcing that not only would this cause a hiring freeze and likely layoffs, this would likely put a damper on us bringing the stadium back to DC. All right, so all that money, right down the pisser. Right down the pisser. And we overlook here in DC, we overlook a lot, but I think these things are starting to add up. These things could very easily start to add up if any opposing voice was to step forward and point them out. The thing about it is we don't have any opposing voices here in DC that will step up and point out the blatant corruption within the DC politics. See, one thing about Donald Trump, and let me just take a moment to say this. One thing about Donald Trump was he was an outsider. When Donald Trump first came on the scene in 2016, the thing that made him really propel to political stardom and people really start to take a look and take him seriously was when he went to that debate. Two things that really got people looking at Donald Trump and taking him seriously. One was when he called out Jeb Bush on the debate stage and he said, "Hey, your brother started an illegal war in Iraq." When he said that, that's like, whoa, you're saying truth to people's faces. That was one thing that's when people started taking Donald Trump seriously. But on top of that, it was a 1-2 punch. The haymaker that he followed up with after calling Jeb Bush out on the debate stage was when he called out Hillary Clinton in the general election. And in the general election, he said, "They're all corrupt. I know because I used to give them money. I used to purchase them." He said this to Hillary Clinton. See, in the primaries, people started taking Donald Trump seriously when he took a jab at Jeb Bush and told Jeb Bush, "Your brother started an illegal war in Iraq." That was some truth that politicians were not going to speak on because both the Republicans and the Democrats are both warmongers. Obama didn't get us out of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. He expanded the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan and got us into Syria, got us into Somalia, got us into Sudan, got us into Lebanon. Right? Right or wrong? Obama expanded the wars. So the Democrats can't really call out George Bush for getting us into war in Iraq and Afghanistan when Obama came into office and he didn't do any better. So the Democrats couldn't say anything and the Republicans weren't saying anything. So Donald Trump calling out Jeb Bush in the primary saying, hey, your brother got this country into an illegal war in Iraq. That was mind-blowing. That was something you wouldn't see in a political debate stage up until Donald Trump. Then that was the jab. That was setting it up. That was setting up for the haymaker. That was the jab, right? Then he followed it up with the haymaker in the general election against Hillary Clinton when he tells her, yo, you are all corrupt. Before I started this to make the decision to run for office myself, I used to donate millions of dollars to your campaigns. I know the influence that I bought from you guys. I know this whole thing is a scam. See, we don't have anyone in DC who would be willing to step up and call out the Democrats for their corruption, because right now the Democrats have such a stronghold in DC. All you have to do is run in as a Democrat, and you will run essentially unopposed. Once you get past the primaries, you're running unopposed. So people are scared to step on the Democrats' shoes because everyone in DC, you know the Democrats are going to win. So your best bet is same as Trayon White did. Follow the path of Mayor Bowser. Accept the corruption, just like Mayor Bowser. Pay to play, just like Mayor Bowser. All right. Only he got caught. They wanted to get him out the way. They wanted to get him out the way early because they saw what was happening. All right, let's get back into this article. Appreciate y'all rocking with me, though. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying tonight's broadcast. If you're getting any value from watching tonight, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. All right, getting back into the article. So by August, the Department of Health had shut down the ward due to its failure to meet minimum standards. Earlier in July of 2017, the hospital allowed a week to pass between the death of a nursing home patient and notification to his family. A week goes by. You've got a nursing home patient dead. A week goes by. What are y'all doing? You don't have anyone on file. You don't have any phone calls. You're not going to make a phone call? What if that man, I don't know what the man's religion was. If he was a Muslim, you got 3 days to put him in the ground. In August, another patient died under questionable circumstances. In September, the nurses union voted no confidence in the hospital's leadership and the leadership that Muriel Bowser put into place, Veritas. The contract that Mayor Bowser assigned after getting those campaign donations, the nurses are saying that they're voting no confidence in the hospital's leadership and said that it has failed to address unsafe nurse-patient ratios and a lack of proper equipment. Bowser administration officials refused repeated requests to disclose the specific medical lapses, and ultimately the council voted to remove Veritas. Hey, get them out of here. Get them out of here. Yeah, I know y'all donated some money to the Bowser campaign, but hey, get them out of here. The opioid epidemic ravaged DC, with a higher rate of fatal overdoses in 2017 among African Americans, that term African Americans, let's say Black Americans, in DC, than whites in West Virginia or New Hampshire. You know it's bad when Black Americans are dying from opioids worse than whites in West Virginia. No offense, but come on, brothers and sisters. Come on, we got to do better than that. We going out worse than the white folks in West Virginia? Though funding was available, the Department of Behavioral Health failed to establish adequate treatment programs. In December of 2018, the district announced an ambitious plan aiming to cut opioid deaths in half within 2 years using a combination of treatment, tracking, and education. The plan was written by a group of DC agencies, doctors, substance abuse treatment providers, council members, and individuals in recovery. Several of the plan's recommendations were described as vague or merely expanding on existing programs. Upon taking office in 2015, 10 years ago, Bowser set a goal to halve the number of HIV and AIDS cases in D.C. by 2020. In 2019, the district continued to have one of the highest rates in the country. The number of diagnoses in the previous year was 360, decreasing by only 13 and 5 during each of the previous 2 years of Bowser's term. They were cutting it in half. Well, they're doing a piss poor job of it. Let's move on to homelessness. Homelessness. Bowser pledged to end chronic homelessness in the district. Yeah. Let's see how that's turning out. Ending homelessness in the district. I haven't seen it. In 2018, the results of an annual survey required by federal law reflected a 7.6, we'll round up and say 8% to be generous, an 8% drop in homeless population from 2017, following a 17% drop from the year before. So altogether, nearly 25%. That's actually not bad. Mind you, we're in 2025 now. These changes were back in 2017. So those changes, if they were to update that, I would be, especially after 2020, I would be very surprised to see if those homeless rates have been dropping. I suspect that they've been increasing more recently. The estimated total homeless population of 6,904 was, however, still slightly higher than it had been in 2013. Bowser's approach to resolving the homelessness issue, focusing on homeless families, has been the subject of criticism. During the winter of 2015, the district saw an increase of more than 250% over any previous year. Sheesh. What? It was 250% higher under Mayor Bowser's direction in 2015. That's terrible. Then higher than any previous year in homeless families housed in shelters and overflow motel rooms. Although part of the increase was due to the administration's decision to move families into motel rooms before freezing temperatures would require it to do so under the law. So likely what happened, they were trying to give out houses earlier than required by law, probably ran out of funding. In February 2016, Bowser unveiled a plan to provide housing for homeless families following the closure of the District of Columbia General Hospital. Without any community consultation or input, Bowser announced the location of one shelter in each of the district's 8 wards and refused to say how the sites were selected. Mind you, we were talking about this yesterday, each ward has different ANC members, neighborhood commissioners, is their task to identify places where when you want to bring things into the community, into their area of the district, you being the mayor or the city council are supposed to work with the neighborhood commissioners to get an idea of the feelings of the people in that neighborhood. What site would work best for a homeless shelter? What site would work best for a mental institution? What site would work best for new construction? You're supposed to work with the neighborhood commissioners. Mayor Bowser, instead of working with the neighborhood commissioners or the city council, just unilaterally went ahead and said, yeah, I've decided that we're going to put these community centers, these homeless shelters, and these different neighborhoods without having any input from the residents, from the neighborhood commissioners. In March, let's see how that turned out. In March of 2016, it was revealed that many of the sites selected were connected to who? Bowser's contributions. What? So this is what I'm trying to tell you. When I'm pointing out, you will see repeated themes of corruption. This is why. Okay, you didn't work with any of the neighborhood commissioners to identify what site would be best for these homeless shelters. You just decide arbitrarily and unilaterally where you want to put the homeless shelters. And come to find out, it was revealed that many of the sites were selected based on your contributors. They probably just gave you a list. Hey, we want these sites. These are beds we're going to be responsible for. We're going to get money for keeping these beds filled. Under Bowser's plan, the monthly cost per unit was $4,500. What? On average, each year for at least the next 20 years. All right, that's $4,500 a year. All right. I thought it was a month. All right, a year? That's not that bad. All right, for the next 20 years. Frustrated by the D.C. Council's efforts to devise its own plan, working with the neighborhood commissioners, Bowser lashed out with expletives. Started cussing out Chairman Phil Mendelson. Started cussing him out. Hey, I've already made this decision. I don't care what you and your city council want to do. I'm the mayor and I decided that this is where we're going to do. I've already received the campaign contributions. I've already accepted the bribes, so forget you and the city council. Basically. All right, so that's Mayor Bowser. That's Mayor Bowser and her corruption, taking money from the contributors, selecting the sites based on her bribes. Allegedly. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, guys. We're almost done with this article. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. Hope you're getting some value from tonight's broadcast. Let's check out what they have to say as it relates to Mayor Bowser's accomplishments in housing. In 2018, Bowser nominated Joshua Lopez, former chief campaign aide to both Bowser and ex-mayor Adrian Fenty, to serve on the board of the D.C. Housing Authority, which reviews contracts and sets policies for public housing. Over the objections of certain council members who considered Lopez unqualified for the position, Bowser proceeded with the nomination, which the council approved by a vote of 10-3. In April of 2018, Lopez held a loudspeaker at a rally while a representative of the Nation of Islam spoke, calling council member Elisa Silverman a fake Jew. Bowser called upon Lopez to apologize, but resisted public calls for his resignation. One thing I will say here in the DC area, we got NOI, Nation of Islam, we got Hebrew Israelites over here, and you go down U Street, you go down Georgia Ave, you will catch some folks out there with the bullhorns speaking their piece, and I love that about our city. Yeah, they're going to tell you how they feel about you. You go down Georgia Ave, you go down U Street, you catch them on 14th Street on a Saturday. Oh yeah, you're gonna see them out there with the bullhorns giving you a piece of their mind. I love it. And Joshua Lopez got appointed by the mayor, and he's still out there with the Nation of Islam calling people fake Jew. That's pretty funny. You ask me. In October of 2021. The chair of the D.C. Housing Authority, Neil Albert, abruptly resigned after it was revealed that he had channeled multiple contracts to a romantic partner. And again, this is what I'm saying. There is tons. It doesn't take much digging to find. There are tons of examples of corruption within the D.C. politics. Look at the D.C. mayor. You look at our city council members. Now, I will say our ANC members, our neighborhood commissioners, that is an unpaid position. So the people who run for ANC, people who run for neighborhood commissioners, generally they're doing this out of the goodness of their heart, or they want to pave a way for future political plans. They want to run for mayor later in life. They'll run for ANC to get some experience firsthand. And the folks who are just laying that foundation, who are getting in on the ground level, running for ANC, generally they have more of a connection with the people. It's a little bit more grassroots. But by the time you start getting up into the city council and you start getting into the mayor office, that's when you'll see that these contracts, these city contracts, and the construction companies, they have a lot of influence in DC. They do have a lot of influence. And anyone, if you've ever watched The Wire, go back and watch The Wire. I like that show growing up. That was a really good show, The Wire, because it showed the different aspects of the city. It showed what goes on down there in the docks. It showed what's going on with the mayor, the chief of police, and the police unions. It showed different aspects of the city, not just, you know, the crime and the underground street life, but they showed how that crime and underground street life right there in Baltimore, because mind you, The Wire, that's being set in Baltimore. That's still the DMV. That's 45 minutes away from DC. So The Wire, which is filmed right here in Baltimore, Maryland, it's I like that show because it kind of gives you an idea of even the corruption. If you go back and watch The Wire, there was corruption there. People were buying influence, giving the campaign contributions, and go back and watch The Wire. It's a really good series. But then when you take a look at real life and you took a look at, I'm a DC resident, so I'm looking at the DC politics, it's not very far off. It's not very far off. Now, in October of 2021, the chair of the DC Housing Authority, Neil Albert, abruptly resigned after it was revealed that he had channeled multiple contracts to a romantic partner. While Chair Albert, more corruption in DC. While Chair Albert had awarded the Housing Authority's headquarters to a developer who hired his partner, and they keep calling him his partner, right? So what do you think? I don't know. What do you think about this? His partner, I don't know. As the architect of record, Bowser had championed Albert's accomplishments in the months before his departure and responded to news that Albert's home had been raided by the FBI with the statement that she holds employees to the highest standards. They're getting raided by the FBI. Trayon White getting arrested by the FBI. Are you seeing a pattern yet? Bowser's replacement for Albert Dion Bussey Reeder owed thousands of dollars in unpaid income taxes, which Donald Trump is planning on ending, by the way, in the income tax. Salute Donald Trump. Leading the government to place liens on her property in violation of DCHA bylaws. Yeah, that doesn't, I'm not I'm not going to hold that against you. She owes some back taxes. Hey, man. Those taxes can be a beast. They're trying to steal from you anyway. Immigration. Immigration. Upon the election of Donald Trump to the presidency and the following statements by the president-elect threatening to pull federal funding from sanctuary cities, Bowser issued a statement reaffirming the district's status as a sanctuary city. Now, this is one thing that I hold against Mayor Bowser. Her stance and what she's been trying to do with immigration is horrible. She just passed legislation this year, actually, allowing immigrants who have been living here in D.C. for 31 days, not 31 months, not a year, not 6 months, 31 days. If you are an immigrant, you come to DC, you live here for 31 days, you live here for a month, you have the right to vote in DC elections. They're making this a sanctuary city, but then when Texas Governor Greg Abbott starts busing immigrants to our city, then all of a sudden it's a problem. Then you need the National Guard. Then you need to declare an emergency. I don't like Mary Bowser for her immigration politics. Soon thereafter, Bowser was confronted by a throng of about 100 protesters, rightfully so, who were angry that she should had not responded more forcefully, as had mayors of some other sanctuary cities. So they were mad, not because she's making our city a sanctuary city, but because she didn't do enough in denouncing Trump's policies and defending immigrants. In January of 2017, following Trump's inauguration, I wish, let it be like that. Hey, listen, all right, this is Chocolate City. I'm worried about the good folks who have been building this city up from the ground. In January of 2017, following Trump's inauguration and the issuance of an executive order threatening to withhold federal funding from sanctuary cities, Bowser affirmed that the district would maintain its status as such. However, in November of 2017, Bowser announced that the district was joining 7 other cities in a partnership with the National Immigration Forum to assist some 2,000 green card holders who work for the DC government as well as family members in applying for U.S. citizenship. The partnership would provide information, legal help, citizenship tests, coaching, and assist in finding language classes. Participation in the program could save an applicant as much as $2,000 in legal fees. One thing that part is cool. I think that immigrants deserve, or they should get, a path to citizenship. But I think that we should enforce immigration laws and kick out the folks who are here illegally. So you got to find some balance between the two. I'm fine with giving folks a path to citizenship, but you're here illegally, you go back home and you apply. I don't like folks coming over here. We're gonna incentivize them to come here illegally by giving them the right to vote. No, I'm not with that. I'm not with that. She's doubling down, making DC a sanctuary city, and look how that turned out. In 2022, the governors of Texas and Arizona instituted policies to offer migrants released by federal authorities in their states free bus rides to Washington, D.C., to my city, because Mayor Bowser declared this is a sanctuary city. Since April of 2022, over 9,000 migrants have been sent to D.C. from the two states, from Texas and Arizona. Bowser stated that the city and the nation was facing a migrant crisis. Oh, now it's a crisis. Now it's an issue. And she's going to criticize the governors of Texas and Arizona for what she characterized as political gamesmanship. No, they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Shout out and salute to Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and the Arizona governor. They did exactly what they said, what they're supposed to do. You said you have a sanctuary city, so why not ship all of these migrants that they're dealing with to the places where you are claiming to have sanctuary for them? You're claiming you have all this space and all these extra resources for 9,000 unemployed migrants. You claim you have sanctuary for them. Well, fine, go take them. And now you got DC residents like myself looking at your path, looking at your repeated cases of corruption and bribery. And we're like, no, we don't want our city being overrun. You're giving the voting rights away. You move to DC and in 31 days you've got the right to vote, which is diluting and nullifying our vote, the strength of our vote as DC residents, DC citizens and citizens of this country. You're diluting our voting power, calling DC a sanctuary city, diluting our voting power as U.S. citizens and DC residents, and you think we're supposed to be happy about it? And the only reason you can get away with this is because this is a Democratic stronghold and you're running unopposed. DC mayor's running unopposed. City council, you've got people getting arrested for taking bribery, have the audacity to run again after being removed because they know that they're running unopposed. And what they're doing is making the city weaker. Bowser stated that the city and the nation was facing a migrant crisis and criticized the governors of Texas and Arizona for taking advantage of her sanctuary city. Bowser has twice requested assistance from the National Guard and managing the migrants and was denied both times because DC is not a state. So when she's asking for National Guard, she's reaching out to Maryland and she's asking Virginia. DC is not a state. We don't have the National Guard. So she's calling out for the Maryland National Guard, the Virginia National Guard to come help. And they're like, no, you called yourself a sanctuary city. Why should we send our resources, our National Guard, to help fund you and help assist you when you are the one that signed up for this? And this is brilliant from the Republicans. I mean, I got to call a spade a spade. It's a brilliant play from the Republicans. On September 8th of 2022, Bowser declared a public emergency in D.C. and declared an Office of Migrant Services to provide services to migrants arriving from Texas and Arizona. That started in 2022. Mind you, it hasn't stopped. So that influx of migrants coming from Texas and Arizona, coming to D.C., and we're supposed to continue just draining our resources just to signal boost ourselves as a sanctuary city. I don't understand what is the benefit that we're receiving by calling ourselves a sanctuary city. Like, why would you open yourself up by doing something like that? It's political signaling that they thought that it wouldn't have any tangible effect on us until Texas and Arizona called her bluff. And now these sanctuary cities are starting to feel it. And the Republicans did the right thing. I mean, it was a brilliant play. Policing. Bowser has shown strong police support and has not complied with numerous legal requirements regarding transparency in policing. Her administration repeatedly blocked the release of stop and frisk data as required by the NEAR Act. So when they say, oh, DC, we're taking down the BLM Boulevard, we're taking down the BLM murals, who cares? The mayor's been supporting y'all. The mayor's been supportive of the police. So, I mean, you're mad about some Black Lives Matter mural where the Black Lives Matter organization is sitting there stealing money, taking advantage of people who really have lost their family members due to police violence. The Black Lives Matter organization is taking money, ciphering money, and benefiting from the deaths of innocent black folks. And what are they using the money for? To go buy mansions for themselves. You're mad about some mural. Meanwhile, no tangible change has been brought to policing in the DMV. Let's be real. Although Bowser supported the outfitting of Metropolitan Police Department with body cameras, out of 25 involved officer shootings from 2016 to 2018, only 3, so there have been 25 shootings, and of those 25 shootings from 2016 to 2018, only 3 of the body cam footages were ever released. So yeah, even if they're wearing the cameras, they're not going to release the footage. So what good is it? That's why whenever you're dealing with the police, it's best you take the time to record yourself. And they say, oh yeah, we're recording too. Yeah, but you can't get their recording. When they say, when you start filming, oh yeah, I want to take this video. And they say, oh, don't worry about it, we're recording. No, you're recording, but you're not going to give me the footage. You're not going to give me the video. So I want to take my own recording and I want to take it live. I want to take it live so people can see. Protests. Mayor Bowser demonstrated support for the Black Lives Matter protest movement following the murder of George Floyd in the subsequent protest. She renamed the stretch of 16th Street in front of the White House Black Lives Matter Plaza, which is not a tangible benefit for anyone. You just rename something. It doesn't help us. You're supporting the police, but then you're going to rename a plaza as if that's doing anybody any good. And it had a mural painted spanning the entire street. Oh, nice. You made the street look nice. But how does that reduce police brutality? It was not a tangible benefit. What she's doing is she's actually supporting the police, as we just read. She's increasing police funding. But then you're going to give the people some street. You're going to rename it Black Lives Plaza. You're going to paint a mural and act as if that's made any tangible benefit in anybody's life whatsoever. Matter of fact, you can't even drive on that portion of the street. If you're driving down 16th Street, by the time you get to Black Lives Matter Plaza, it's blocked off. You can't even drive on it. So it's really, it's really a nothing burger. DC-based leaders of Black Lives Matter, the organization, said the act was a distraction from real policy changes and called on the mayor to defund the police. It was a distraction. It didn't really do anything tangible at all. In response, Black Lives Matter organizers painted "defund the police" in the same bright letters feet away from the mural Bowser ordered. It's kind of funny. On January 6, 2021, pro-Trump rioters and insurrectionists stormed the U.S. Capitol in protest of the results of the 2020 presidential election. Remember that? In which Democrat Joe Biden defeated incumbent President Donald Trump. Bowser imposed a curfew in response to 6 p.m. that night and ended at 6 a.m. the following day, though it was ignored by numerous pro-Trump rioters and insurrectionists. During the 2021 Cuban protests in July, the words Cuba Libre, translated Free Cuba, were painted in the front of the Cuban embassy in support of the Cuban people and opposition to the country's communist regime. By July 20th, the words were removed by the Bowser administration, who classified the words as unauthorized. Bowser received criticism for her double standard of praising Raul Castro in 2016. Her allowance of painting Black Lives Matter on the same street and her future plans to make the area a permanent dedication to Black Lives Matter. And it's terrible, it's most unfortunate the way the Black Lives Matter organization stole the term Black Lives Matter from the grassroots protesters, because now whenever you think of Black Lives Matter, all you think of is stealing an organization which is led by thieving lesbians. I mean, it's evil. It's really devilishly brilliant the way all of our movements get co-opted. It's really the worst kind of brilliance, man. The way they co-opt everything we create. Public services. In January of 2016, traffic throughout DC region was paralyzed by an inch of snow on untreated roads. More than 1,000 accidents were reported, and some commuters abandoned their cars amidst impassable roads. Bowser apologized for an inadequate response in the district, explaining that we should have been there earlier. For a larger storm later in the same season, a report by the DC auditor found that the district has spent over $40 million on removal, much of it charged to the district's credit cards. Financial irresponsibility. The district incurred tens of thousands of dollars in credit card fees. In an unprecedented move, JP Morgan Chase shut off the government's line of credit until some of the card balances could be paid. Some of the contractors who benefited most from the snow removal expenses were important Bowser donors. Dun, dun, dun. The DC auditor found. So tell me how much more, because we're going through her page. Have you started to see a theme of repeated corruption? Whoever gives her donations while she's running ends up getting government contracts, and the people getting the government contracts aren't even doing the work at a high level. They're not really doing good work. Public utilities. In October of 2015, Bowser changed her position to support the $6.4 billion merger between two public utilities, Exelon and Pepco. Opponents of the merger decried the lack of transparency in the deal and Bowser's reversal. Community activists raised ethic concerns, claiming that Bowser was swayed by a $25 million pledge to rename the future MLS soccer stadium as Pepco Park. So Pepco's starting to bribe her too. All right. In December of 2015, it was revealed that Exelon had paid the chairman of FreshPack. We spoke on FreshPack earlier, which was the first PAC action committee, political action committee, closely aligned with the DC mayor. This is the first one that has ever been aligned with the DC mayor. She created FreshPack, and Exelon started giving money to FreshPack, which is basically a way to launder money to Mayor Bowser. A political action committee affiliated with Bowser's allies as a lobbyist. All right, sexual harassment. Sexual harassment. Let's see where they're going with this. In December of 2017, Bowser ordered that 30,000 employees of the district receive sexual harassment training by February of 2018. Under the order, 1,500 supervisors must also complete advanced in-person training. At the time, Bowser administration personnel could not say how much taxpayers had paid to resolve sexual harassment claims against the city, or how many such claims there had been. In March of 2018, it was reported that taxpayers had recently spent at least $735,000 to settle such suits. Bowser aides acknowledged they did not have a full grasp of the problem, and the city plans to set up a system to track complaints and settlements. Let's take a quick break here, guys. If you're getting any value from watching the video tonight, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. I appreciate y'all doing that. And if you haven't done so already, be sure to hit the subscribe button. You got to smash the subscribe button for more content just like this. Right now, recently I've been on my political tip, so we're diving in as a DC local. I'm diving into DC politics, reviewing information regarding our DC Mayor Muriel Bowser, regarding information from our DC City Council, Trayon White, who has just been removed from DC City Council, but is currently just announced today. He has just announced today that he will be running for re-election to DC City Council in hopes of one day running for mayor. So we're following these DC politics for now, but I talk on a wide range of topics, whether it be health, news, politics, sports, music, wide range of topics. So be sure to subscribe and come on back. All right. All right, let's get back into urban development. I'm just trying to see where we want to jump back in here, because we're almost done. We're almost done here. Yep, we're almost done. We got a few more sections that we're going to get through. I want to get through a few more sections. Let's do 3 more sections and we'll be good. Let's start off with transportation and we'll move on to urban development. 3 more sections, guys. We're almost done. But anyone who's in DC, maybe you didn't want to take the time to sit and read all of this information. Just click on the video. I'm breaking down giving you some background information on DC politics, DC politicians you probably haven't heard anywhere else. So if you're interested in this kind of thing, come kick it with your boy. All right, come kick it with your boy. Let's get back into the article. All right, transportation. As part of her first State of the District address in March of 2015, Bowser promised to get the DC streetcar up and running. In September, Bowser, as well as the director of the DC Department of Transportation, promised that the streetcar would be operational by the end of the year. The 8th Street Bending Line began public service operations in February of 2016. So she promised, she delivered. Good job on the transportation. And I think I mentioned it yesterday. She was ahead of the Metropolitan Transit Authority, the MTA. So she does have experience. She does have experience working with the transportation sector here in DC. She's done some good work. I mentioned yesterday that they just started making some DC bus lines 24 hours. They're operational 24 hours, which is significantly cutting down DUIs and things of that nature. So she is doing some good work as it relates to public transportation here in the district. I'll give credit where credit is due. Salute to Muriel Bowser for her work in transportation. Now, moving on to urban development. After Bowser took office in 2015, she created a new cabinet post to focus on development in the city's poorest areas. She named former council candidate Courtney Snowden to the new position. In 2017, the Inspector General found that Snowden had improperly used city employees to care for her child. That's kind of crazy. She's pawning her kids off on city employees. That's kind of crazy. Bowser said that appropriate management action had been taken in response to staff babysitting without specifying what had been done. Probably just told her, hey, go pay for your own daycare. What? I appointed you to this position and you're pawning your kid off to the staff? Oh my goodness. That's so embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for the District of Columbia. It's like, oh, it's really low-key embarrassing. In October of 2017, Bowser announced a $3 million infusion into housing and retail projects in D.C. Wards 7 and 8 in an effort to remedy the scarcity of grocery stores in the district's poorest wards. District Wards 7 and 8 have only 3 grocery stores between them, or $50,000 or 50,000 people for every grocery store. That's a lot. There's only 3 grocery stores in Ward 7 and 8. 50,000 people got to go to 3 grocery stores. When they talk about food deserts, let's just take a moment and think about that. 50,000 people. District Wards 7 and 8 have only 3 grocery stores. 50,000 people for every grocery store. Jeez. Just imagine how busy those grocery stores are. Compared to 10,000 per store in wealthy Ward 3. So it's 5 times as busy. That's crazy. Bowser awarded $2.1 million to the Jair Lynch Group for redevelopment of a shopping center and $880,000 to South Capitol Affording Housing to assist in building out the Good Food Markets project, which also includes 195 units of affordable housing as well as commercial space. Well, that's good. Previous attempts to attract grocery stores to these areas have failed. Dun, dun, dun. Youth services. Now, this is one thing that Marion Barry, previous mayor Marion Barry, he did a really good job as relating to youth services. He did great strides to decrease youth unemployment, which made DC a safer city moving into the 90s. So shout out to Marion Barry. Shout out to Marion Barry for his contributions to the district as it relates to youth services. Let's check out and see what Mayor Bowser has done. In April in 2016, the DC Trust, a government-funded entity that dispersed grants. A DC government-funded entity that dispersed grants throughout the district to nonprofit providing youth services, declared bankruptcy and announced plans to dissolve. The decision was attributed in part to overspending by and for staff at the agency. More corruption. They went bankrupt spending money for staff. The staff's just over there spending the office credit card, using the office credit card. Come on, man. The decision was attributed in part to overspending by and for staff at the agency. The agency, also known as the City Youth Investment Trust Corporation, had suffered a history of abuse and mismanagement. They're playing with the money. Just like the Black Lives Matter organization. They're playing with the money. People are really out here, they need help. The kids really need jobs and they need youth services. We put in money into this program so you can help out the youth, and y'all taking the money and y'all playing. Y'all are playing. Abusing, mismanaging, and playing with the money. Tricking the money off. Next thing you know, y'all are going bankrupt, and the kids are out here short with no youth services. It makes me upset, man. I don't like it. Former council member Harry Thomas Jr. was found guilty on felony charges for embezzling $350,000. Tell me what section doesn't have corruption in it. You stop me and tell me when you've noticed the pattern of corruption in these DC politics. Former council member, the same council that Trayon White is running for, former council member Harry Thomas Jr., was found guilty on felony charges for embezzling $350,000 of the trust funds between 2007 and 2009. So this dude, Harry Thomas Jr., is over here stealing money from youth services. What kind of scumbag steals money from youth services? What kind of loser, what kind of lowlife is stealing money from youth services? You stealing $350,000 from the kids? Really? Really? What kind of scumbag is stealing money from kids? In 2013, congressional investigators concluded that the agencies lacked controls to properly administer a $20 million a year federally funded school voucher program. Then, in January of 2016, the agency's board, 4 of whom had been appointed by Mayor Bowser, learned that a former executive director and a former senior financial officer had used funds to pay tens of thousands of dollars in credit card charges, including some for personal use. More corruption, more tricking the money off. Bowser had recently provided $700,000 in taxpayer funding to the agency. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the people who run for politics get corrupted when they are successful in politics? Or do you think that they're already open to being corrupted before they get into politics? Like, when you look at the police department, some people think that people join the police with good intentions, and then once they get into that police culture, that environment, their job ends up corrupting you, although you started off with good intentions, and then you end up going from a good cop and becoming a bad cop. And some people believe that the bad people were already attracted to becoming a police officer. So the bad people are attracted to the position. So it's not that they started good and turned bad once joining the police department. Some people believe they were started off bad and they joined the police department because they were bad, right? So there's 2 trains of thought. There's 2 philosophies as far as where do bad cops come from. What do you think is the source of bad politicians or corrupt politicians? Do you think that people who are already corrupt are attracted to DC politics? Or do you think that good people with good intentions get involved in DC politics and end up getting corrupted after they join? You tell me. Tell me what you think about that. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? You tell me. Put it in the comment section. I'm serious. If you made it this far in the video and you answer this question, I'll shout you out in the next video. So leave it in the comment section. If you made it this far in the video and you respond to this question that I just posed to you, I'll shout you out in the next video. Tell me what you think. Do the people who run for politics, do they start off corrupt, or do they get corrupted after finding success? You tell me. Bowser had recently provided $700,000 in taxpayer funding to the agency. The board members did not know how much of the funding remained or how youth services could be continued. Just totally tricked the money off. How much money do you have left? I don't even know. We're not even keeping track of it. Okay, do you have enough money to keep the youth services going? We haven't even been doing any accounting. We don't have a budget. We just been playing with the money. In 2019, a 9-year-old and a 10-year-old were handcuffed by the Metropolitan Police Department in separate incidents, sparking public outrage after videos of the incidents were circulated. While the Attorney General said that he would review the department's policies, Bowser said that every case is different and asked whether it was appropriate to circulate the photos of juveniles to try to blame the kids. Nah, man, y'all shouldn't have been trying to mess with those kids. Y'all were probably trying to... It's traumatic experience, taking a 9-year-old, putting them in handcuffs. He probably didn't even do anything wrong. You know, these cops like to provoke and try to traumatize these kids. It's terrible. All right, I think we've reached the end. Yep, that's the last section I want to cover. We've got involvement in national politics. All right, I'll finish off with this last paragraph. In mid-May of 2016, ahead of the 2016 District of Columbia Democratic primary, Bowser endorsed Hillary Clinton's presidential candidacy. Well, that didn't work. Bowser delivered a speech at the 2016 Democratic National Convention in which she advocated for D.C. statehood. Yep, that's a pipe dream. In late January of 2020, Bowser endorsed Michael Bloomberg's campaign in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary. He lost. And everyone that Mayor Bowser supports ends up losing. I don't want her support. In March, after Bloomberg had withdrawn from the race, she endorsed Joe Biden's campaign. At the 2020 Democratic National Convention, Bowser delivered a speech remotely from the Black Lives Matter Plaza. Boom. Hey guys, if you guys have made it this far in the video and you've gotten any value from watching, do me a personal favor and hit the thumbs up button for more content just like this. I hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. I hope you learned something. There's a lot of corruption in DC, but there's a lot of opportunity here as well. If you can make it past the primaries, you are basically running unopposed in DC politics. So to the youth, if you're interested in getting in politics, you've got an open lane here. DC is you've got a lot of opportunity here in DC. All right, let me be the one to tell you. That being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed tonight's video. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out. Check out the links in the description to support the channel and support myself. I appreciate y'all doing that. And if you made it this far in the video, be sure to leave the comment. Answer me, riddle me this. Do you think that the people who are attracted to politics are already corrupt? Or do you think they go in with good intentions and end up getting corrupted after they become successful in politics? Which do you think comes first? Leave that in the comments section and I'll shout you out in the next video. That being said, I appreciate y'all rocking with me and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
I done ran up all these bands up in hand and made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man, there ain't no stopping me. I done ran up all these bands up in hand and made like 5 bands a day. I was broke, came up with a plan, now I'm the man, there ain't no stopping me. It ain't no stopping me. Got bands, I'ma run it up, it ain't no stopping me.